Bayajidda. I've already indoctrinated him with Bayajidda, and again, propaganda. So, okay, well, that's the. What I want to say is the tapestry from the beginning that you painted, sir. It looks organic about monarchies. I don't know if it's true or not, but as you are talking increasingly from the beginning up to the end, it began looking to me like all monarchies all over history, all through history look like that. Ancient England, ancient Rome, and more like kind of ancient Egypt. I would like to give my example with ancient Egypt, because when the Hyksos came, they were pushed by famine. The shepherd kings, they came south into Egypt and met an Egypt divided, Upper Egypt, Lower Egypt, and even Nubia, which was before all part of Egypt. But they met Egypt divided, and that was what gave them the power to conquer Egypt. But when non-conquest that they did gave Egypt the pushback to be able to rally and come back from the defeat. And when they came back, the Amarna period came as a result of Yuya, Prophet Yusuf to us, yes, and his grandchildren, Akhenaton, who brought the monotheistic system. Akhenaton, you see, was a descendant of Yusuf, was a descendant of Yuya. So the pattern came down like that, even when the Amarna period collapsed, because the Amun-Ra cult could not abide by such insult to their gods. But even after that, the Ramessesan dynasty was unified under the most powerful of the god, because Amun and Ra were different gods, but they combined them in one place and made them one god. So they still somehow stuck to the idea of a central god. So after the continuation of that, it began decaying again, so to speak. After that came this what do you call it, colonists, so Alexander the Great. They came and established the Ptolemaic Empire, a bastardized pharaonic system. Yes, it was still the pharaonic system, but it was bastardized. So after that, Augustus, during the triumvirate, when he got Egypt under him, before Augustus, Anthony, he accepted the system they had. But all the nomes, Cleopatra was at the head, she was a foreigner and a queen, but she was at the head, but the rest of the nomes down to Nubia, all were Egyptians. So after that, all the thing, sorry for my language, went to hell. Everything decayed and got destroyed. So my analogy with Kano is, when the Hyksos came, that was the coming of, I'm trying to analyze, Bagoda. Yeah, they were pushed by famine and all that, they came and conquered this Abunna. And when the Fulani came, it was like the coming of the Israelites, Kokumanchi of the Amarnams. And later, all this fight that has followed led to the decay of the Egyptian monarchy and eventual even stoppage of the whole system. So my question here is, do you think, even though Kano is just a micro example of the other tapestry that I'm trying to paint, do you think the Emirate system of Kano will come to this eventual end, as now the federal government is coming in, and this governors, each governor that comes will just sabon sarki, sabon gwamna. Do you think that the system is so?
I don't understand the federal government is coming out.
Sir?
The federal government is coming out.
Yes, they are controlling things, sir. Ganduje is using his federal power.
He's using the federal power, but it's not coming from federal government.
Okay, my mistake, sir. But he's coming from the top. That's what I wanted to say, sir. Yes. So what I'm saying is the system is decaying, increasingly decaying. Do you think it will come to an end, just the way that the Egyptian the pharaonic system came to an end because of the decay?
Yes, I don't think that we can make comparison in such a way, because the decay in Egypt happened due to the revolution of 1952 that did away with the monarchy. If a similar thing were to happen, then definitely yes. But taking Kano as it is, except if the entire defunct MLS of the Sokoto Caliphate were to face similar problem, I do not foresee any time when this issue will go out with the slaughter system. Up to now, you could see, up to now, in Hausa land, no matter the influence of the jihad, no matter the unison situation created by the jihad that brought the entire Hausa land under one political umbrella, still, the issue of identity is important in the history of this part of the country. Still, the Kanawa see themselves as Kanawa. There is Katsinawa, there is Zamfarawa, there is Gobirawa, there is Zagi. I do not think there is Sokoto because up to now, I don't think that Sokoto could compare itself with Kano or other, because Sokoto is just about 200 years or so. It is not. It's just like America. You can say American culture in terms of money, mongering, or whatever, but in terms of identity as American, history, tradition, there isn't. So it's easy for America to disintegrate, and that's why it will be very difficult for Russia to disintegrate.
Yes,
It will be very difficult for Russia to disintegrate.
Yes.
It disintegrates. It will not. Because no matter, even though there was this revolution and this was the SAR system, but what Putin is trying to do now is to create, telling that they wanted to destroy Russia. If Russia is destroyed, the whole world is destroyed. Russian civilization will continue. And that's why Iran was telling America that America, you should understand that our civilization over 3,000 years old. 3,000 years old. We have an identity. You don't have one. So I think it could. And secondly, you see, for Egypt, it was a melting pot. It was a melting pot, and the influence of Islam, that universal Arabization that took place, you see, has changed the entire socio-cultural setup. So now you can not even talk, you can talk of the ancient tradition, but now even the Coptics, the original people of Egypt, are a minority. But unlike in Kano, the issue of there was a Kwenke, there was a leadership in the Fulani. But even the Fulani were a culture as they became Hausa. They have become Hausa. Whether you like it, call yourself Fulani. Go and act as Fulani. And see what will happen to you, even here. Yes, in everything they Hausa.
Even the Hyksos melted. Even the Amarnas also melted in Egypt. But I was only talking about ancient Egypt. I wasn't talking about up to the Islamic thing. And God, they are getting
Professor Badu was can you
somebody is speaking. After that, somebody.
We thank you most sincerely for giving us this beautiful narrative of Stu. Ordinarily, it's too big what you have taken for me to talk, but I would like to start by telling others here, not people like Professor DK and my other elders here, that we used to go to seminars and particularly ASU meetings to go and listen to Mali. It's from them that we learn public speaking and the other arguments.
That was
So
when Tijani was
Thank you once again. I have a comment and a question. My question is based on what we have listened to, and particularly the comment of the last speaker. I think the presentation here reaffirms my concern with history. It's too dubious for my liking. I'm sorry, I don't mean that negatively. Because what we have listened to here is too well made, as if I'm reading literature. Too well put together, without ruptures, without the conflicts. And when you talk about identity, and a number of words have been used here that I'm not comfortable with, but that's another thing. The politicization was first mentioned very early of the Kano monarchy in the narrative of Mali. Much later, he said it again that the politicization, maybe it went to another level at that point. And the use of the word decolonization, particularly, within the context of the discussion again, when I was still thinking we have not even started decolonization. And my teacher, my friend here, equally joined issues on the issue of identity. And the example of Egypt that is given is too linear and dangerous, particularly the way we have deployed it. The Kano identity and the Egypt identity. If you use the example of Egypt, which Martin that addressed that example may not be that good, it's not that simplistic. I've read and I've learned that Egypt, as we talk about it now, had changed religion, culture, language, like 4 or 5 times in its history. To tell you that this identity that we are chasing is an ever fluid thing. When you say the Kano identity, my teacher here at times when it gets so bad, will say you will abandon all of us and go away. And I know too that I have some Tuaregs and Berbers blood in me, even as you see me as Yoruba or whatever. They traveled a lot. I don't know the identity you're talking about. And unified Kano, unified Kano mind and so on and so forth. But that's for us to chew over. It's not Marlon's edict. He has done his own business. But my worry here, which is the question here, what is the place of the constitutions and other laws in this entire narrative and politics of the palace? Because that was a comment made by some of my lawyer friends at ASU when we first had the first tranche of your take on this thing. Monarchy for me is too lawless. It's organized lawlessness. It's organized lawlessness. And in what we have done here, equally, I can't remember places where a man, maybe because he's not a lawyer, he's an historian, he has no apology and he didn't give us the legal side of it. There's a constitution, whether you like it or not. Who is in charge? It's different what we think that the emir is supreme. But who is actually in charge in the middle of this lawlessness? My question simply to Marlon, what is the place of the constitution and other laws in the middle of this madness?
You should have asked, you should have during the military period.
Okay, I won't mind the modification, sir.
What was the...
I wouldn't mind the modification.
What was the constitution during the colonial period?
Okay.
You see, perhaps you are confusing the issue of modernity in discussing identity. But as Professor Ibike has said, in any part of the world you are talking about, now there is re-emergence of the issue of identity. And identity is there in almost every country. Look at, for example, the Moda Keke Ife issue. The Moda Keke Ife issue. Who are Moda Keke? So that's the Oyos that came, immigrated after the interregnum of 1822. You see, when the Oyo was balkanized and they could not come up, knows what, because of the jihad. Many of the Yoruba. That was the past period of the increasing population of the poorest area. And they went and established an enclave just close to Ife. Now, with modernity, with local governments in everything, the issue of finance, now the people of Ife are saying, no, this they do not belong. They do not belong, they are not Ifeans. They are Modakeke. And up to now, there is that. If there is no issue of identity, then it's still not current. What is happening? You see, even when you go to, even in Ilorin, there's still now the issue of identity between the Aponjas and the Alenis. There is that issue. It's factual. You can say that the extent to which it is echoed varies from one area to the other. And once you talk of identity, you are saying Kano identity. In fact, one of the things that gave Kano that identity, even after the jihad, Usman Amputo saluted Kano. Because he said what? He said it was Al-Magili that promoted the identity of Kano with a constitution.
That's right.
The Taj al-Din al-Mulk. It was the constitution in Kano, and from that, the Kano identity, that's why you talk about the 15th century, the Kano identity started to be formed. And it was even enhanced. What you may say is that at one time, also as somebody said, it keeps on changing, depending upon circumstances. Yes, but still, once the symbol is there, then that identity is there. Okay. That's why there is this distraction. And you are saying, I find it awkward. You are saying monarchy is anarchy.
Organized.
So you are saying that before the beginning of modern period, what do you say to be? Let me say before the beginning of modern period, that is the French Revolution, 1789. What was the nature of European society? Which was the government? Were they not monarchies? Yeah. So all there were
organized chaos.
So all governments throughout history until modern period they were organized chaos.
That's my take.
How did this revolution take place? What happened during the 17th century is the constitutional monarchy of Britain?
That is the point, sir.
The constitutional monarchy.
That is the point. Yes. The monarchy has to be constitutionalized. That is why we give it indication. Even in we have
I'm coming. What happened in the 13th century? What was the Magna Carta? Magna Carta.
1215.
What was the Magna Carta?
But that's why
is it organized monarchy? Is it organized?
Marisa, you will have to tell
Allow me. Excuse me, please. You made two statements that I think shouldn't come from you as a professor.
Okay.
One, the fluidity is itself. Karl Marx says there's the abstract and the concrete, or the appearance and reality, but the appearance itself is real. In fact, this is the truth. What is the appearance? The appearance that you think should have a base in essence itself is something tangible. So, identity is fluid, yes, but it does exist in its fluidity. This was handled by Edward Said and others. Secondly, to say the monarchical system is chaos, I think is unfortunate. No. In fact, it was monarchical system that laid the rule for development of what you might call today democracy.
Exactly.
Monarchical rulers established law and order. Look at Hammurabi. Who set down the law? And in ancient Sumeria, Mesopotamia, China, the rulers themselves, this is how your duties. And without that, religion would never have emerged. Religion.
Exactly.
Look at the Christianity and Hindus and so on. They emerge in organized societies let's call them monarchy, that set the rules for conduct, your relation to yourself and to others and to the gods and so on. The monarchy, in fact, was the first order that human beings established.
Yes.
When we say order, a system that demarcates limitations and duties and rules. And say in ancient China, Confucius, in fact, said these are your duties, and these are your duties to the king or to the emperor. And the emperor, these are your duties: protection of the people, cultivation of land for irrigation and food supply, and preservation of their culture. So this, in fact, is the monarchical system that set the foundation for what we now call modernity. So it's not where what the attitude explain.
Organized lawlessness.
No. What you want? No, that's the unfortunate lawlessness. In fact, in monarchy they establish what you call the law. But you look at modern systems. Look at a car. Look at the engine. Look at the combustion engine. It's organized chaos.
It's okay to make
No, I think
no, should not come from
no. I think no.
Okay.
There's something that could be damaging.
That's the idea. I want to challenge it. Slightly getting away from the main basis for this lecture.
Exactly.
Issue of identity, issue of lawlessness, they are all there. So everybody has a point. And maybe I can understand what Prof. Barmos is trying to say. Maybe it's not in the context of maybe the way I think maybe that one. And then in terms of identity also, like Kano identity. If you look at what is Kano identity, Kano identity to me is actually twisted in the ability of the city to assimilate and transform people into something. That is another thing. Now on this issue that we have discussed, the issue of the current issue we are facing.